Hi, thank you. First of all, thank you everyone for joining this webinar today, which I'm really looking forward to delivering. I'll just give a little bit of background to myself first of all, and why I chose to deliver this talk on this subject. 15 years ago, I was working at Shop Direct. Shop Direct are now one of the most progressive test and learn businesses in the world. And 15 years ago, I was part of their first user experience team. When I was there 15 years ago, I observed my first ever moderator user research session, and from that moment on, I knew that the whole area around observing and analysing user behaviour was going to become kind of crucial to my role in user experience. So moving on from that, a few years later I set up PRWD, and we were initially a kind of user research and behavioural understanding specialist agency. And so this was before we moved into conversion optimization, but the one biggest thing that was frustrating me about the business really was that however many insights we were providing businesses in terms of behavioral understanding, we basically weren't delivering clear ROI through A/B testing. And so in short, that had to change. As it turns out, running a business which has always had a core passion for intelligent natural user research is the most important element that drives growth through conversion optimization. So we're in a good place, and ever since we've moved in fully into optimization, the business has kind of grown and continues to grow, particularly in the UK. This is just a quick range of the type of businesses that we work with, a range of medium to kind of multinational brands, multi-channel retailers, financial organisations, finance, student, the kind of education space. And so we've spent literally hundreds of hours conducting user research with brands like this to really understand user behaviour. But moving into moving forward a little bit, and then thinking about what is the one biggest thing that's damaging the A/B testing industry right now. A/B testing isn't anything new, but it certainly is an extremely immature market at this stage, and there are big kind of challenges and things which are negatively influencing the uptake by businesses for intelligent A/B testing. So what I did, I actually just put this out on Twitter just yesterday to a range of the different people that I typically speak alongside at conferences, asking what do they feel is the one biggest thing damaging the industry. And Ollie Gardner, he just put a general lack of understanding about how to do it properly. And there's been some other really interesting comments. You can see at the bottom of the screen there what my number one thing is, and it's this actual lack of a reason why, a why behind the testing, what's being delivered. But to understand the why, or by not having a why, what that typically means is that there's literally zero or very poor user research that's being conducted to feed into developing the test hypotheses. So what I'd like for everyone, hopefully on this call today and that listens to this webinar in future, is to kind of stop kidding yourself in some respects. And when it comes to being customer centric, you need to walk the walk. It's very easy to talk the talk. But actually really truly understanding the importance of user research is absolutely critical if you want to succeed through intelligent optimization. But then if it's so important to testing, then why is it that every company isn't conducting user research and conducting it intelligently and really getting great successes through their testing? The reason for that is that there are some really big myths out there with regarding user research, and what I'm going to share on the next few slides is what we see all the time as being the 5 biggest myths about user research, and actually why they shouldn't exist, even though that they do. So myth number 1 is that having an on-site survey is good enough. So if I have to be honest and blunt about this, most on-site surveys are a complete waste of time. They're asking the wrong questions at the wrong time, typically within a few seconds of arriving on the website. It isn't the right time to start asking people, would you like to give feedback later on, or could you answer some questions about the website now? On saying that, there are out there very intelligently worded surveys that are delivered at the right time with clear goals on delivering and gaining valuable insights. And these are a key part of user research when they're delivered correctly and intelligently. But user research and understanding users doesn't end there. You quite simply have to observe and understand actual user behavior to truly understand the why behind people's actions. So that's the first myth. If we move into the second myth, this is that remote user testing is good enough. So remote user testing is very, very popular, and it should be. It's quick, it's cheap. You probably typically, in our experience, you probably have a 50-50 chance of getting some valuable insights that you can build into your hypotheses. But remote user testing misses the one most important part of user research, and that is at the appropriate time, using open questions, being able to ask the participant to talk about their current thoughts, their apprehensions, and their influencing factors. That is the most kind of crucial part of user research in terms of being able to interrogate users, interrogate being the wrong word here, but to be able to really understand what's going on in the person's mind and how they're making decisions. So remote user testing is good, but it certainly isn't good enough, and it isn't going to give you all the right answers for your testing. Myth number 3 is that, well, so if you're doing this one-to-one user research, people are just going to say what you want them to hear. And yes, when moderated poorly, one-to-one user research sessions will be unnatural, they'll probably potentially feel awkward, and ultimately they won't deliver any real meaningful insights. But then actually, when the research is conducted with intelligence, with an experienced, personable moderator, people have a fantastic ability to share with you their genuine thoughts, their feelings, and their drivers, and all these providing valuable insights from which to develop test hypotheses. Very often at the end of research sessions where people are getting paid for it, but actually the money becomes irrelevant. Very often we get participants saying to us, like, I really enjoyed that, or it's been so good to be able to share what I'm thinking about, and to know that I'm being listened to. So it's a very healthy process to go through, and again, with the right moderation, then one-to-one user research does provide invaluable insights on which to develop your test hypotheses. Moving into the fourth myth of the 5 is that, but like one-to-one research, it's clinical and natural. Moderated user testing, it's often called lab testing, and let's be honest, this doesn't help the perception of it being in an unnatural environment with lab coats and with the participant wearing kind of scientific equipment on the heads maybe. So that is such a poor kind of idea of moderated research. When we deliver user research moderated one-to-one in a relaxed living room style environment with an expert personal moderator, asking open questions and building rapport with the participant, moderated user research is actually the opposite of being clinical and unnatural. So don't let this myth put you off and put your business off from investing in real high quality moderated user research. Probably I'll just say one final point on this. I've talked a lot about the moderator's role in user research, and actually poor moderation in one-to-one research will kill good insight. So I can't stress enough the importance of whoever is responsible for having the one-to-one with users has got the right experience, asked the right questions, and can build up rapport to gain natural insights from participants. So then the final one of the 5 myths is that one-to-one user research is too expensive. What I would say to any business or any department or decision maker that's saying that, or that's cutting user research out of a program for a redesign or for an improvement project on the website is, first of all, like, how much money do you currently spend on getting visitors to your website on a monthly basis? Secondly, how much did you spend on your latest website redesign? And then thinking more broader about online and digital, how much do you spend currently each year on the different tools that your website uses to serve content and deliver personalized messages, and also to run A/B testing as well. Coming back into moderated user research, intelligent research will multiply the impact that A/B testing can have, and in terms of growing your business. So what the question actually becomes here is not whether or not one-to-one user research is too expensive, but actually if it's going to accelerate and grow your business, how much is that worth for your business? And I'm sure for pretty much any business, the cost-benefit analysis will mean that you will want to be investing in moderated user research. So hopefully that's provided quite a useful overview of the five key myths that are currently holding back businesses from investing in quality user research. And so what I just want to share now is 5 A/B test wins that they've been made possible through user research. And I'll just kind of explain about the kind of understanding that we developed in order to develop the hypotheses. So first of all, this is for the student room. This is the world's largest student community, and our primary research technique we use for this is moderated one-to-one research with their target audience, which of course is their students. What the research told us is a number of things. First of all, that students were very keen to sign up early on in the process, landing on the website, because they knew that they were joining the world's largest community. There's huge social proof there. They knew the friends that are already on the student community. So sign up for visitors, students for the student room, it wasn't a barrier. It wasn't something that we need to put further down the funnel, even though actually it was further down the funnel when we started working with the student room. We also found that the signing up process, it wasn't a barrier. It's quick and it's simple and it's free. So again, it wasn't something that, oh, we need people to pay for this, so we need to build up a lot of trust with us. What we also found from the research is that students didn't appreciate the full breadth of content and support and features that were available on the student room website. And this was when they were landing on the homepage and they were looking at the content. We can see here on the left there's some social proof going on with the numbers, but then on the right hand side this is all content and articles and forum messages that you can lead into. And then what we also saw is actually the middle section of this page, be part of it. This is actually an explainer video for the student room, and it communicates really well and effectively their unique value proposition to students. But through the research and through data analysis, we could see that hardly anyone was using and interacting with that video, even though it was very persuasive. So what did we do? We developed our hypothesis, and our hypothesis was that by focusing new visitors' attention on the quick and free sign-up form, whilst also replacing forum content with prominent messages that are communicating the student room's unique value proposition, this would lead to a much higher percentage of visitors choosing to sign up and begin engaging with the community. So this was a radical redesign. It was a very bold, innovative test, extremely political, because we were moving down all the sponsored advertising and content that sat on the right-hand side of the website. But through user research, we knew that there was a very strong possibility this would resonate really well with their target audience. The impact this had was a huge impact, and this was a significant amount of numbers going through this test over a period of 3 weeks. You can imagine with the number of visitors they get, the volume of insights and stats that we got from this test. It was a 78% increase in new visitor sign-up. So although it was very political and the business was concerned that we were moving down all the advertising, the impact of this for their business in terms of returning visitors, page impressions, the number of visitors engaging and commenting on forums increased significantly by doing this bold test. So I'll move on to the second test. This is Get Revising. It's part of the student room community, and they offer a free version of their service which provides different content for students, but also a premium offering. What we were doing here, we really wanted to understand what we need to do to convert more visitors to choose a premium plan, because it was heavily weighted towards a basic plan. So we conducted moderated one-to-one research with target audience users, and we also conducted telephone interviews with their existing premium users to start to understand the reasons why they chose to go premium rather than free. The research told us that students didn't understand the benefits of choosing to go premium. They felt that they had everything they needed in the basic features. They got access to other people's Get Revising creations. And what we also found through conducting the research is that students fell into three main categories. We had content producers, who then subsequently like to share their content, content consumers who would never likely create content but they want to consume and take content from other people, and then kind of passive students that were never likely to sign up and they were just looking for a bit of information but they went back to their own study approaches. But what we didn't know from this, we didn't know what was the one thing that was going to tip visitors from choosing premium over basic. However much research we did, we needed to take this into A/B testing. This was one of the key issues that we had with premium users, is that they felt that they had everything that they needed in the basic package. So this was a fundamental flaw to the value proposition for Get Revising, that if students feel like they get enough for free, then why would anyone sign up for premium? So what we did, we moved this into a features and benefits table, but we ran a number of variations at the same time, which effectively changed the ticks and crosses so that we could understand and pinpoint exactly the one feature which was the kind of tipping point to get people to move from free to premium. The impact this had on their sign-ups, first of all on free, we saw a negative impact on sign-ups, but this was to be understood and we expected this to happen. We were obviously looking to drive premium subscriptions, and this winning version here, which is to get access to the Get Revising library, meant that by having this behind the paywall, we saw a 185% increase in premium subscriptions. So we were able to identify the one biggest difference that was going to get people to convert to premium. Moving on to the third one, we've just got, I think, 2 or 3 left, probably just got a few minutes left. This was a radical homepage redesign for slide robes. Primary research techniques were remote user research with the target audience. We conducted an in-house customer visit with a design specialist to actually go in and speak to a consumer face-to-face and to understand how the website played a part in encouraging them to make contact. We also got in-depth insights from their customer service teams. But then as well, what was crucial to this, what fed into this, is prior test learnings on the brochure request sign-up page and the design appointment page and site-wide value proposition tests that we ran. So we built up a lot of insights from customers and from testing to be able to develop a test hypothesis, which was to do a radical redesign of the homepage. And so what the kind of research told us here is that the value proposition for slide robes wasn't being effectively communicated. The primary sign-up, the primary brochure request was very much a secondary action on the page, and people weren't being encouraged to do it. And also importantly for slide robes, which is a lead generation website, visitors didn't understand the process that it takes to actually consider getting new sliding wardrobes. And then finally, what they did have slide robes is some superb customer stories that are very emotive, very engaging, yet they weren't being prominently showcased, and the majority of visitors didn't see the customer stories. So our hypothesis, which is on this design here, is that by radically redesigning the homepage to communicate the value proposition, the process behind the business, and the powerful customer stories, a significantly higher percentage of new visitors will choose to request a brochure. The result, this was very much like a transformative test for slide robes. This was an 18% increase in brochure requests, which this is their primary metric that drives their business, and this is a business that spends a 6-figure sum on a monthly basis on acquisition. So you can kind of get an appreciation of the importance of this test. So just moving into the final couple of tests. This is a very simple execution test, which was to encourage more visitors on the Student Room forum pages to sign in, to make a reply and to start engaging with the content. Our primary research technique for this test was actually 15 years of moderated user research insights with multi-million-pound retail clients. What all this research has told us over the last 15 years is that the words sign-in are absolutely toxic. At the start of a process to register to create an account, at the start of checkout, words such as sign in and create an account can be really toxic. And even though it might be a simple process, it can really put people off. So our hypothesis was that by removing the word sign in and just by focusing on the word reply, even though people still need to sign in to reply, we would encourage a higher percentage of visitors, new visitors, to click the button to sign in and start engaging with the community members. This had a 40% increase in registration conversion rates, and it just really goes to show the power of understanding what goes on in people's minds when they're looking at copy, looking at text on websites, and how toxic certain words can be. So this was a fantastic result for a very simple execution. Then the final test, this is going back onto Get Revising. This is their kind of paywall pop-up. So when anyone tries to access content, if they've not gone to the features and benefits table earlier, they get this pop-up, want to read more. But we conducted a range of user research techniques, remote user research sessions with target audiences. We also spoke to their kind of on the ground team that kind of spoke with students to understand about their different behaviour. And what we kind of realised at this stage is that this was a crucial page that every visitor saw who wanted to access content, but it wasn't really giving you too much. It didn't say the cost. It wasn't really showing any other relevant content. It wasn't communicating the value proposition of Get Revising. So the test that we ran was on this overlay. And this was what we came up with. So it's do you want to read more? Do you want to get access to all these resources? It then also showed about the whole value proposition, about the volume of resources available, the fact that you can track your progress. We communicated the price on there, and also showed all of the relevant content that's available for biology. In this example here, someone was trying to access biology content. What we actually saw when we ran this test is that the original version had a 28% increase or positive impact on click-through rate, which on the surface doesn't seem too good. But actually what we were looking to measure, and obviously impact, is the premium subscriptions, because you need to invest in premium to get access to content. And what this new variation delivered was a 43% increase in premium subscriptions. So it really does highlight the importance of, first of all, understanding your users, understanding what's holding them back, their apprehensions, their concerns, unanswered questions, and communicating that to visitors at the right time to really accelerate the potential of them converting through. So just to finally wrap up, what has 15 years of user research taught me about A/B testing? And well, it's this. It's that intelligent, in-person, one-to-one user research is the most important ingredient that drives business growth through conversion optimization. So I hope you've enjoyed that quite a whistle-stop tour of some of the key things that I've learned over 15 years. And I'll now hand back over to Sushant to continue on, and I think we'll be looking at personalization in this second part of this webinar.
Thank you for that, Paul. A lot of insights there, frankly. I'm sure our users have much to gain from the value and the insights that you provided in your talk. Now, before I begin, I'd like to reiterate that the webinar will be available on demand later. And sure, I mean, we'll send the event recordings and slide decks to all our registrants. All right. Now that Paul has told you all about user research, I will probably talk about how correct approach to user research translates into better segmentation, thus enabling perfect personalization. Before that, I'd like to give you a brief intro about myself. I'm Sushant, and as the slide reveals, I adore CRO. I love high conversion rates. I find gratification in them. Previously, I've driven content and email marketing campaigns for businesses. At PRWD, I handle co-marketing activities. I plan channel marketing strategies. So yeah, if you want to if you want to co-market or if you want to co-produce content that's of great value with PRWD, get in touch and we'll talk things through. So moving on, I'd first like to start with some key takeaways from Paul's content. He made some very good points when he talked about the biggest thing that was damaging the A/B testing industry. Of course, we can non-existing test hypothesis. Apart from that, Paul also talked about the 5 biggest myths about user research. I totally agree with all the 5 points he made. I definitely believe moderated user research is extremely expensive, and it's clinical and unnatural. And remote user research is good enough, but then again, you have to keep in mind that people are not being paid, so it's not genuine. Moving on, here's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about how do you enhance your customers' on-site or email experience with user personalization. I'm also going to talk about how do you localize content and make it to work in your advantage. I'm going to talk about how do you establish instant connect using dynamic content. Apart from that, we'll also talk about personalizing email content, user demographic data, behavioral data, transactional data, lots of good stuff coming along. Towards the latter stage of the webinar, we'll give you some additional tips for a more advanced usability testing approach, but more of that later. So I'll start with implementing user segmentation using the right research. Now, customer segmentation means categorizing your visitors or your users in a way which achieves a business goal, even your early adopters. Now, there are tons of benefits to correct segmentation. You can avoid useless channels. You can identify the most profitable channels. You can improve your customer service. You can always discover unexplored niches. And of course, and I'm pretty sure there are several more users as well. But how do you go about setting up a decent segmentation strategy? You start with creating a complete list of potential niche target segments. Now, you can create this by generating user-focused scenarios. It all boils down to using your resources wisely to achieve maximum profitability. Now, once that's done, your next step is to narrow the search to the most promising target segments. You have to rank the scenarios according to your technology adoption life cycles. You can always ask yourself questions like if your economic buyer is accessible and well-funded, or if your customer has a compelling enough reason to buy, if you're actually offering a whole product solution and it's viable for your customers. Is there competition, or are you facing a lack of established competition so that you cannot measure your product's performance against competition? Finally, is there a positive follow-on potential? I mean, do you see your product beating through competing businesses, beating competing products, and coming out on its own? Having said that, it's very important that you keep repeating both these steps unless and until you're able to identify a single target segment. Like I said, there are no shortcuts, and you will have to keep on going back to the drawing board unless and until you have your single target segments in place. Now, step 3 is always to select a target audience. Now, remember, the candidate should be attractive on its own merits and provide the best follow-on market potential based on developing a product strategy and customer references. Each candidate represents a potential market segment, and which is why you should always use a market development strategy checklist to develop a plan to win the lead segment. Now, it's equally important, now that you have your segmentation in place, it's very important that you enhance your user's online experience with the perfect user personalization. Like you can see in the image, there are different combinational metrics that come together and create a different landing page variation each time. Well, that's how personalization works. Well, that's because personalization is personal. Now let's discuss what are some key fundamental strategies for implementing user personalization. We'll start with localizing content and what's the importance of localized content. Now, as you can see, I'm not sure if you know about this, but around 70% of the world population doesn't speak or understand English. Now, this is a major insight that I came across when I was researching for personalization strategies. We as marketers never realize that most of the content that we create for our users it's mostly in English as the primary language, but we don't really understand that we are still not appealing to the 70% population who are not following what the content that we are projecting to them. Also, 80% of all online consumers will only make decent purchases if the product descriptions are in their native language. Well, that's pretty straightforward. That's because they have a better understanding of the product or your business, and they are more likely to convert. Ask yourself a quick question. What if you're targeting a market that's that has a lot of Spanish, a lot of Chinese, a lot of Russian, a lot of French consumers? Are you giving them the right value? Are they understanding whatever you're trying to tell them? You should always speak that is exactly why you should always speak the language that your customers speak. Not only it imparts instant connect, your customers will feel special, your customers are gonna feel really connected to your product. Now I have a case study here from Gap, which will establish the difference that localized content can make. Gap identifies the location of its customers and shows this awesome pop-up asking visitors to confirm their country and currency details. So what it does is when you are at the checkout page, you do not have to furnish, you do not have to understand other currencies, and whatever is the order checkout payment, that is mentioned in your own currency. So you do not have to use any currency converters in that case. Dynamic content and the importance of dynamic content. Before that, I'd also like to make a point about content localization. Since you are speaking the language that your consumers speak, not only you strike an instant connect, you also imbibe a sense of trust, and you create better conversion opportunities. If you know about this, Walmart operates in more than 27 countries, works with 55 different agencies, runs several marketing campaigns, and all this is inconsistent. All this is consistent with their marketing demographics, and that is why Walmart is where it is, in the online space as well. Moving on, we're going to talk about dynamic content. As we all know, that dynamic content is what drives successful marketing campaigns now. We all like attention. We all are attention hungry. Your customers are no different. You can always establish user connect, and if you get to know your customers before you sell to them, there's always that chance that your customers will believe and have a heightened sense of trust in what you're selling them. There are several case studies around this. There are websites like Amazon, which features personalized homepages for its customers and its product pages. And Amazon subscribers have this great option of selecting the categories they want discounts on. So if you have a thing for clothing, for mobile handsets, for fishing equipment, Amazon will display just the right discounts and the right promotional offers for you. Amazon also does amazing personalization, on the basis of your previous purchases or whatever are your browsing patterns on the website. So if you have a thing for, if you spend a lot of time on fishing equipment, that is what Amazon ads are going to display on its website. Like I said, here's a case study from Amazon. Now, 500 different people go to Amazon, all right? And each user sees a different version of the homepage. Why is that? Simple. It's personalized. It's no secret why Amazon does that. Content personalization actually makes them a lot of money. Also, Amazon uses your interaction history and other data to drive more sales. And this is exactly why you see these tags like what other items to consider, frequently bought together, and customers who bought this item also bought list. So you see all these lists, and this is all done using behavioral data. And that is how Amazon creates more conversions than probably any other e-commerce website in the world. Now, here's a look at what Amazon does with its emails. As you can see, this is an example of this guy who was looking for high definition cameras on Amazon. So what happens is a couple of days pass, and he gets this email from Amazon, which says if he's still looking for the camera, something in the camera, photo or video department. So Amazon pops up this Canon PowerShot camera, which it thinks that might be of great use of great interest to this particular user. And not only Amazon, in fact, big retail sites like Amazon, they're very complex that ways, and they use what are otherwise called learning systems. This means that they are capable of looking at data and learning from it all by themselves. Now, since they're using this self-learning algorithm, Amazon can easily predict user behavior, and it can strategize or position its content accordingly. So, like I said before, if you have a thing for cameras, or if you have a thing for golfing equipment, Amazon will actually predict your behavioral patterns and market its products accordingly. So, if you have a thing for golfing equipment, you are not going to receive an offer for a baseball cap. No, that's not going to happen. It's still gonna market golfing products to you. Now that we have established the importance of localized and dynamic content, we're gonna next talk about the correct approach to user personalization. How do you go about user personalization? To start with, you can always use the subscriber data to generate ideas. Now, this includes information that people have volunteered through, sign-up forms, preference pages, or maybe just observe behavior that's related to purchases, previous campaign activity, or whatever interaction they have with your website. In fact, I go on to the extent of saying that, using your audience data, you can very easily create segmented lists and then target them accordingly. A simple example here can be a customer who buys a razor set with 5 razor blades in your web shop. So let's just say that you have this web shop, and a customer buys a razor set, 5 razor blades, simple enough. Now, ideally, based on your experience with other customers, you might know that it takes an average man about 3, maybe 4 weeks to finish all the 5 blades. So what you do is you segment these buyers in a specific target group. And later, you can target them with a campaign that reminds them to buy some new razor blades. So every time it's been like 3, 4, 5 weeks, you can retarget them, remind them that, you might have run out of razor blades. Here's something, we are offering these discounts on a razor blade pack. Why don't you go ahead and buy it? And, what you know next is they actually buy some razor blades from your web shop. Now, based on this, I have this very interesting case study from Usability. Zvi Vablin, I don't know if you've heard of him, but the guy does some amazing segmentation. Now, Zvi Vablin from Usability did some amazing segmentation on his subscriber list, and he personalized his users' email experience. Well, here's what Zvi did. Number 1, he exported this entire list of customers in his email database, and he broke down the entire list based on customers that use Gmail, Yahoo, and other email clients, popular email clients. He also segmented users who used corporate email domains. For example, like you see here, user@walmart.com, or maybe user at facebook.com, user at whatever company.com. Once he had segmented the entire list, he excluding customers using these popular web-based providers. He used the rest of the list. He used the remaining domains and set up individual coupons for each domain. Yeah. So if you were somebody from Walmart, he set up discount coupons just for people from Walmart, so that they got that sense of a personalized coupon that they further shared with their friends. After this, he sent out this newsletter, with a copy along the lines of, "Hey, here's a special coupon just for you," and the organization's name is there. So let's just say you're Mike from Walmart, and Mike, you get this amazing email from Steve Bablin that says, "Hey, Mike from Walmart, I have this awesome coupon for you. Why don't you go ahead and do a little shopping?" And you, being Mike from Walmart, you feel all the more inspired to actually go to the website and make a purchase. Fantastic segmentation and even better personalization, I'd say. Now, the result was okay. I'll give you a show of what the user-licious email test mockup looked like. If you can see, the subject line clearly says, "Just for our friends at ABC company, here's a free shipping coupon inside. Since it's Christmas, we are shipping free products, and the coupon, and especially since the coupon is valid site-wide and very exclusive to your company, it established that instant connect. It personalized the email recipient's experience, and the next thing these guys knew was that their post-campaign analysis revealed an extra 35%. Yes, correct, an extra 35% revenue that user-licious used to make over their usual newsletters. We also realized that this 35% has an interesting part. We realized that this 35% came from recipients who shared the email with their colleagues at work. How awesome is that? So you get this email from, so you are Mike from Walmart, and Mike, you get this email from Zvi Babylon, and Zvi tells you that the coupon is customized just for you. And what you do is you share that with your colleagues, and they go to the website and shop a little more. And the next thing we know is it's a great Christmas for both Zvi and you. Now, another very important aspect to user personalization is how do you research user data to personalize content? To begin with again, you have to ask yourself a very basic set of questions. Questions like what visitors did on your website? Did they make purchases? Did they download content? Are there any specific categories or pages that they are spending a lot of time on? Is there content is there specific content that your visitors like? When exactly did they visit your website? Are you using timestamps? Or where do your visitors come from? Where are they located geographically? It might also help us to know why exactly did they visit your website and with what intentions. You should also do a lot of keyword landing page analysis. If you are somehow able to determine as to how exactly did they find your website, this new opportunity, the who opportunity I call it, it lets you it lets you mix this traditional analytics data with demographics data, and this gives you a lot of new insights into your audiences, and makes it clearer as to what marketing initiatives can you drive to get better engagement from your already existing users. Now let's just first start talking about user demographic data. We all know how sophisticated or how complex, much rather, Google Analytics can be when revealing insights or when revealing statistics about your users. I'd say this: Google Analytics is your new best friend. You can use Google Analytics to create and explore different segments. You can know your users inside out. Data like their interests, their age, occupation, their nationality, their industry type, all this information can help you segment your email subscriber list better, which will again in turn enable high degrees of personalization. Not only is Google Analytics rapidly turning out to be a marketer's best friend, if you have noticed recently, even the main menu of Google Analytics has changed from the usual web analytics jargon, and it actually reflects marketing language. So if you happen to go to a GA dashboard now, you'll see a lot of user behavior, acquisitions, user targeting, landing page analysis, etc., which kind of suggests that GA itself is positioning itself as a marketer's best friend. Now, Google Analytics is also taking it one step further by including demographic and psychographic information. Now, how cool is that? Psychographic information inside Google Analytics. This will let you dissect your traffic to isolate a niche, which is essentially a low-hanging fruit for audience and customer insights. But now demographic data can be combined with all other visitor data to produce absolutely new marketing capabilities. Now here's an example from analytics. Let's just suppose I own this awesome online sports shop. Now I'm interested in middle of career males who play sports, so that I can like isolate this particular segment from the traffic and target it categorically. Now, once a user segment is turned on, you can easily browse all your other Google Analytics reports and compare the behavior and performance of this segment in comparison with other traffic segments. Now, you can also achieve more control over demographic segment by choosing conditions under user segments. Now, these are what it does is it can you can specify the data fields and the analytics Boolean logic to govern the definition of the visitor group. The image that we have here, it shows how we use the the and or statements to ensure that we include all visits with sports under the under affinity or the other categories, which is again itself a larger group. But having said that, you have to be very cautious that your segment does not filter in only those visits with sport under both the categories, because that will create a much smaller segment and won't leave you with a lot of opportunities, as in setting up personalized campaigns. It will be too small a sample size, if I may say so. Now that we have talked about demographic data, let's talk a little about on-site behavioral data. Now, on-site behavioral data, it's paramount and predictive analysis of the audience's response to your targeted marketing campaign. Sure, you've set up an awesome marketing campaign, you really personalize it, but how do you measure? How do you conduct a predictive analysis as to what your users are liking and what would they like to see on the website? Well, that's what on-site behavioral data does. How much time? I mean, you have to ask yourself questions like how much time do your users spend on your website? What pages or categories do they spend the most time on? What's their on-site interaction like? Is it often that they use the chat feature, or do they often contact you using the contact form? I have a bunch of screen grabs from BWO's own data, so this is actually golden. Now let's just suppose that I want to track or analyze the on-site behavior of BWO's own free trial converters. Yes, this data is from BWO. So what I did here was create a segment for free trial signups. Now, in the next slide, you can see the first step that I took was I tried to map their key metrics. I could see I analyzed what were the number of pages that they were accessing in each session. What was the average session duration like, which was pretty awesome if you ask me. I mean, 6 minutes, 35 seconds is a pretty awesome session duration. I was particularly impressed with our bounce rates. I mean, most of our free trial converters did not bounce off the website as soon as they access the landing page. Also, the percentage of new sessions was pretty impressive at 63.87%. My next segment, now that I had control data about already existing free trial converters, I tried to create this segment for the brand new segment for people who were similar to free trial converters, only that they didn't convert. I mean, they showed interest, but they didn't convert. So here's what I did. I created their segment, and the next thing I did was I measured their performance against the metrics that I had from data from free trial converters, and I could easily pinpoint the exact places where there were leaks in my strategy, and I altered my strategy accordingly, and we got some very good results with it. But once you have the perfect, correct, once you have big behavioral data, there's a lot in terms of strategy that you can implement and gain from them. Here's what you can do. Here's what you can easily do with this new segment, or here's what I did with this segment. I retargeted them with discounts, promotional offers. In my own marketing automation system, I gave them higher lead scores for future reference because I knew I could always get back to these guys and target them accordingly. And maybe if I gave them the right offer, they might end up converting on the website. Uh, I am not a very big fan of pop-ups, exit pop-ups or otherwise, entry or exit pop-ups, but when we try to measure the performances of different pop-ups on the website, they seem to work really well. So yeah, if you can show them a right-hand side pop-up, which just reminds them, but why are you leaving the website? Is there anything that you want to talk about? Try and engage them for a little more time. That would make a lot more sense. Since I'm assuming you already have their emails, you can always also trigger a specific message and maybe leave them with something to think about. For this, you can also use push notifications. But it's very important that you create very elaborate nurturing plans for both prospects and existing customers. This not only will this help you in keeping in maintaining high levels of user engagement. It will also again give the established continuous connect with both your prospects and your users, and that will further help in conversions. Also, you have to have an understanding of content formats, that traditionally do well and, yield better engagement rates. And you can always plan more content around this particular research. Customer transactional data is another important aspect when you're planning your personalization strategy. You can gather a lot of insights from the way customers make transactions on your website. You can offer them you can plan offers and discounts around this data, and create new content or new sales collaterals around the same. In fact, transactional data, it's best if you only use it for analyzing existing customers, because it is always important to analyze how much your customers are spending and what's the frequency of their purchases, because you can use this data to like I said, you can use this data to create different offers, different discounts, and you can always encourage more conversions, more sales through personalized newsletters. In fact, thorough analysis of your customers' spending patterns also enables you to make recommendations for cross-selling and upselling. Maybe just send them reminders that they haven't visited the website since long. If you see in the screen grab that I've just shared, this is a screen grab from one of the e-commerce websites, wherein they are retargeting a customer who had previously abandoned his or her shopping cart, and they they've mentioned, they are willing to sweeten the deal, if I may say so, and this is brilliant targeting. All right, this is what we wanted to suggest in terms of personalization strategies. I hope that we were able to help you in setting up correct segmentation and executing good personalization strategies, which will help you in creating more conversions. But we still, have people who are interested in usability testing. Here's a quick 2-minute slide for giving them additional tips. If you have a thing for usability testing approach, also, although it's a little disconnected with what we have been talking up till now, but if you have a thing for usability testing, here are a few tips. You can start by analyzing a top traffic source. You can look at landing pages that have high traffic, and more importantly, higher bounce rates. Look at highest exit rates in your sales funnel. Segment your traffic, like I've already been saying. Ask live users to complete tasks or solve problems that involve these pages. Run visual analysis. If you follow all these as a workflow, or whatever issues that there are with your pages would eventually bubble out, and all the problems will become very obvious, very clear, and you can easily solve them at your own end. So this is it. This is my part of the talk. I hope you had you gained a lot of insights and you had as much fun listening to this, as much fun as I had presenting. We'll take a 2-minute breather, and after that, we'll start with the Q&A session. If you have any questions, please send them through the chat box, and we'll try and answer all of them, with whatever time we've left. Thank you very much. Hi, Paul. I think our audience have a few questions that they'd like us to answer. I can see there are a couple of questions on user research, which I think you would be a better fit to answer. Would you like to take them up?
Yeah, that's fine. So yeah, I can see this first one. Can I explain a little bit more around the techniques that we use to get client buy-in to conduct moderated user research, with it being a considerable cost, and is it a challenge for us? So I think, yeah, first of all, we're kind of very privileged to attract businesses looking for our services that are typically medium to kind of multinational size companies, and so I suppose budget, of course, isn't as much of an issue for them as kind of smaller businesses. But then even businesses coming to us that have perhaps got the budget, got the marketing budget and things for moderated research, but they still need to be really bought into it. I suppose we kind of use a classic technique of social proof, and just explain to companies that we're speaking to, these are other businesses in the last 12 months that we've delivered user research. It's hard for their kind of optimization program. So we use social proof to for businesses to get bought into it. But then what we also do as well, it's very much about bringing them into the process, our clients, so that they're involved in helping to plan the scenarios. We kind of lead that, but it's a very collaborative approach. And then the actual research sessions itself, our clients always come in to observe firsthand the user insights, so we find that's one of the most powerful ways to really demonstrate the importance of changes that need to be made on the website. But then following that as well, which again, this is when we're speaking to our clients, how we kind of explain the process, that typically following user research, it's we conduct collaborative sketch and concept and ideation workshops with our clients. So once again, they're involved in the process, they're engaged, they've observed the sessions, and we can, and between ourselves and our strategists and designers with our client, we can develop potentially stronger, more innovative or bolder tests. So a really important part around collaboration and inclusion in the process. And then in terms of, I think there's just, let's have a look. Yeah, and so another question is, how often should you conduct user research? I suppose, first of all, any business that is conducting, first of all, remote user testing is better than nothing, so that's a start. So if you're doing remote user testing, it's very cheap, cost effective. Conducting remote user research every few months, it doesn't cost too much. That at least you're getting that constant feedback, particularly if you're changing your web experience. So every few months for remote research. Moderated research, as a minimum, every 12 months it should be conducted. So much changes in 12 months, whether it's on your own web experience or your competitor sites or just industry kind of changes and perceptions about what are becoming kind of design patterns and expected user experience experiences for visitors. So at least annual for moderated user research, but dependent on the pace of change, maybe every 6 months. And then particularly if you're developing new features and functionality of your website, or developing a new checkout or a new process, like a new maybe an application process or new functionality on the site, or maybe a new navigation system, then actually conducting moderated research through that process, so it's more of a user-centered design process, is very much what you need to do. But interestingly, still very few businesses invest in research as part of a kind of a design process. So I think the answer is quite often, but in different use cases. Moderated research has got to be factored in and should never be something that's done every 3 years. And I don't think we've got any further questions. So thanks everyone for joining in and listening in on the webinar today. It's been my pleasure to share my insights personally and as a business at PRWD. So thank you again for joining us.